Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today is May 4th, Thursday. And as you guys know, yesterday was FOMC minutes as well as Powell's speech. We went through a lot yesterday. That leaves us with a lot of uncertainty going into next week. So we're going to go over a quick overview on what to watch for today. As you guys know, today after hours, we're going to have Shopify and Apple earnings. Apple's being one of the most exciting earnings that we will be having. So it's going to be interesting to see how the market does react today. But let's get started with the economic reports for today. So we're going to scroll down here on our newsletter that you guys can subscribe to down in the description. It is free, so if you guys are interested in checking that out, let me know down below. So we go to Thursday, May 4th. We have at 8:30 initial jobless claims and 8:30 as well exports and imports. So that should be coming in about 5 minutes. Other than that, that should be all. We should expect non-farm payrolls for tomorrow, and then unemployment as well as consumer credit. So that's something to also be prepared for. And then of course our weekly setups will follow that. Other than that, let's move on to futures and let's get started. First off, yesterday, massive dump brought us to some demand on ES, allowing us to see a nice bounce back up. Now we're sort of stepping back into that spot. Like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty, so I'm expecting some chop between this demand. But let's get started with NQ first. Look at how the market is looking from the NASDAQ perspective. All right, so far we're seeing sort of a chop up here at this top after having a nice strong trend. So we're going to try and see what is the support lines, what are we working with, what is our low, what is our high. First off, we should try and see enter this top. What are we looking for? If this will be a low, if we will be scalping around this range, that could be a possibility. But it seems so far that we should identify these levels over here as a key spot to try and pay attention to, that being one of them, and another one being up here. We got our high and our low, and this is so far the ideal range that we're in, as well as maybe some other levels right around here. So NASDAQ, we have more room down is what I'm seeing. Especially with more room down, we're going to try to see a bounce at 13,000, around that 13,000 spot to 12,900 and 30-ish area. As far as anything else goes, we are in a range, sort of in the center of the range. So again, volatile spot that we're in. I expect more room down, but that difference, there could also be any different things in the changes as like we could get to 13,200 and reject off that resistance that we have there. We may also see a continuation to maybe over here. We have a nice little support level that we could watch out for at 13,000. But no clear pattern as far as I see at the moment. We had that little wedge there, but it is a easy wedge to break, especially with us being on the 1 hour. We can try and mark down this, but I doubt that's a key spot. Yeah. We're gonna go to the 15-minute, try and find anything there, but I don't see really much anything so far pattern wise in this range. So we'll go to we're going to go to ES and try to find the ideal position. Right off the bat, I see a level I want to mark. We're looking at this spot here for a reject as we approach the week, maybe next week, or maybe later on today or tomorrow. I marked that orange. 4115 to 4116 is a nice reject spot. We got a nice little bounce there on the wick. We got a few low bounces there, rejects overall in a nice spot to see some sort of action occur, whether it is buying or selling. Currently, again, at demand. Demand low seems to have been the strong spot. So if we hit that 4076 spot again today, I want to see if buyers are interested. If they are, then of course we can load on calls. If not, and they actually push us down, we're going to start watching that 4060 spot, 4056 spot. Spots that we've seen in a lot of rejects in the past, which we want to see it sort of act as a breaker block, which is just a reject to now rebound area. So let's see if that is a possibility for this week. As you guys know, Apple has earnings, so tech sector is going to be highly influenced by maybe Apple's price action. We may see a lot of volatility. Again, implied volatility could be pretty high. But other than that, that'd probably be my main bounce spot. I don't really see us going any lower. I'm probably going to have to remove these two levels here. Don't trust those enough right now. I guess my next spot between that low and that high will probably be that 4034 or supply but turn to demand high. So once we step there, that's going to be an interesting spot. Other than that, I think I'm going to end it there for ES, and then we'll move on to SPX. So now SPX back at that 4090 spot. Big inflection spot for me. We did bounce, it looks like, on May 2nd, which is Tuesday. So interesting seeing that we're back at that level. So I guess it whether depends that we gap down, which we have. So SPX should gap down maybe to that gap that we have here. So I guess game plan for SPX is if we don't fill, or if we don't gap down enough to fill this gap here, buyer or sellers may try to push us to that 4062 spot, 4062 to 4060 spot, try to get us to fill that gap, push us back up and fill that morning gap. We'll see how we do. Low is going to be marked at this spot here, 4048. So we're going to try to see if we can hold above it. Overall, my main buy spot where I expect buyers to hold overall is gonna be that 4017 spot. Keep in mind, if we break this level, I'm really looking for sellers step down here if they do to actually hold and bounce back. But if we're chop trending down, then we also have another gap over here to keep in mind of. We also have one over here first that we have to fill, which if we fill, we may see a small bounce which we can scalp. But if we head down here, we also have this massive gap to fill, which would be a fill at 3973. So keep that in mind. 3974 is also an inflection spot for me, and as well as that's 3825. So we'll see how we do as we enter the week, or as we enter the trading day with those levels in mind. So anything as far as resistance goes, if we push up today, 4090, of course, we're going to gap down, so use that as a level. We have this 4136, 4141 as a reject spot, and then of course everything in between can be marked as profit taking levels or reject levels. So let's move on to Apple. We're going to go through a quick skim on individuals, what to watch out for, and what are we expecting. So Apple pre-market low is a support. So if you guys are looking to orb on a risky stock, then Apple pre-market low looks like a great spot to do so. That's 162.69. You can use an open range breakout low. This level looks great. Why? Because first off, not only this low and this pre-market low, but we also have a reject here. So if we end up trying to break out, then you know that we can try to achieve other price targets within our range, which would be around 161.88 is not a bad one, or even this low overall where you must try and take profit at. We see a lot of momentum there, so the next time we touch that price, good chance we'll start to see momentum gain around there too. So target between this 159.75 and maybe around this 164.59 as a overall price target if you're taking puts below this Apple. I personally will probably not but it's not a bad setup either. So we're going to see, depending on premiums, depending on contract size, it could be worth it, but let's move on. All right. So we got Costco. Costco has been selling ever since hitting their high. Looks like they are still going with a new low pre-market. They're probably going to try and push us down lower. We have a few bounce spots down here, 485.95. But till we get down to this support, I'm probably not going to touch anything. Costco did announce news, which had that nice pump and then sell off. So I'm going to let it do its thing, price in however it wants to. So we're going to move on from that. Here we have NVIDIA start to try and hold support but fail. Now we're starting to see this step back in basically our range that we were in after breaking, and sort of reject on this candle here. Although now the supply is pretty weak, if price action is weak today, then we should see a stay below this supply and sort of chop within this top, or start to sell off a little bit and head towards demand, where I'll probably be looking for some calls or some buys between support and resistance. But yeah, NVIDIA does look solid for swing wise, but nothing for this week, so we'll just be patient. All right, so we go on to Tesla. Tesla been chopping for the past 3 days. We have our resistance coming up very tight, and this sort of looks like a little flag that we can try to mark down. If you guys know this pattern, let me actually try and get another color if possible. So if you guys know this pattern, we've actually seen it on NVIDIA. So we're going to go back to NVIDIA in a second to try and show you what I mean. This pattern is a break and then a chop and then expected break. And if we go to NVIDIA, we see the same thing, just a little bit longer. Chop and then break, and then big move, break, nothing small, something big, and then we go. So same thing here. I'm going to be marking a resistance here. Yesterday's high, we're going to look for some calls above that. It's not a bad setup at all. So going to mark an alert there, and we're going to see for a break above it to try and grab some calls. And then if we break above this and wedge resistance, then that's a double go, which we will then target 169 to 165. But overall, this is a great setup. I don't want to try and miss this. But yeah, we'll see how the market reacts. If the contracts are worth it, definitely worth looking into. So we'll mark that down. Let's go on to Meta. Is not something I'm interested in. Let's go on to possibly Amazon. Amazon doesn't look too fresh either. A lot of staircasing. You do have this low here that we may try and bounce off of if we do end up selling off this 101. But other than that, not really much there. Looks like AMD almost followed our weekly plan, where to break, head up to that high and reject. Didn't touch the high completely, but overall breakout looked pretty nice for this day. Still, the earnings just happened around yesterday, and we saw some selling. I want to give it time to sort of breathe. I'm not going to trade anything for that at the moment, but we're going to clear chart, and we're going to just be patient. And then we come up here with Netflix. Netflix squeezed to the bottom side, breaking support. So now if we do hold this support, it's eventually where we're going to start to lose buyers and start to sell off. That's a huge possibility. But if we end up breaking back in, then watch this resistance to be something we reject. Could be a spot for puts or just to watch out for. Nothing I'm going to be taking. So let's move on. Home Depot 292 seems where small buyers are. Nothing crazy, so I'm probably not going to take anything. But something I've just been eyeing, not really looking to be trading. But yeah, let's move on. Microsoft, same thing. Very, very bullish movement for the past few days after earnings. And now we're starting to see that range form where we sort of got our high, we sort of got our low, and we either break to the upside or we break to the bottom side. This one though, the difference between this one and this one and Nvidia and Tesla is the momentum overall. Some pretty long wicks, some little time frame, bigger red candles in the morning too, so that shows that there's a lot of profit taking, and then small or buyers overall at the bottom. We're starting to see some sort of momentum loss, while in Tesla we're sort of seeing the same thing but stronger, sort of quicker buyers. We only had around 2 days of buying evidence, while this one was at open, good strength. While this side also had a momentum loss, but no really big wicks at the top side. The only big wick we had was this one. So we really have to be patient or pay attention to that. This one, the only big wick we had was around here. We did have a nice little momentum loss candle there, but overall 3 to 4 rejects, momentum loss here caused that reject, and then of course breakout with volume. I'm hoping to see us gain volume on that Microsoft before even trying to break out, because right now it just looks pretty weak just based off long wicks. So we'll see if that's something. Of course, if we break support, that could be a very profitable trade. So I'll watch the support side break, but that's all. So let's move on to BA. BA solid setup here, nice little resistance. We can watch out for some calls above it. If we break support looks to be at low of yesterday, so 200 plus pre-market low. We can probably head to that 197, which we've sort of been looking for a while. We've been in this range, so we'll keep paying attention to that, and then trade it once we see good opportunity. Other than that, we're going to probably end it here. I know today's session was pretty short, but some solid setups, especially on a day where we're not expecting much from the market, just some volatility. So hope you guys have a great trading day. Trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.